Hello, this is Dominic Zvada, and welcome to the latest episode of Leaders in Next podcast.
Today's episode is sponsored by Bruegger's Bagels. They've been serving authentic New York-style bagels to neighborhoods across America for over 40 years. It's kettle-boiled and then baked fresh in the oven, comes out with that hot, crispy crust and a soft, chewy center. It's been that way since starting in 1983. It's truly tradition you can taste. And here's a pro tip. If you join the rewards program, you get a free coffee whenever you order in the app or online. Free coffee, iced or hot, anytime you order in the app or online. So visit their website, brueggers.com, for more information. That's BRUEGGERS.com. Having great special teams is critical to winning championships, and Michigan has been blessed to have some great kickers recently. Everyone remembers Jake Moody. Jake was selected in the third round by the 49ers, making him only the second kicker since 2016 to be drafted in the top 100 selections of an NFL draft. And then recently, we had James Turner, second team All Big Ten last season, and set a Michigan single season record with 65 converted PATs. Today's guest, Dominic Zvada, is the next man up and has already made his mark and is on his way to being the next great Michigan kicker. Dominic, welcome to the podcast.
Thank you guys for having me. It's a true honor to be on the show.
Hey, thanks. We're excited because, you know, as a new guy, fans don't know an awful lot about you. I mean, we know what we read, right? But I mean, I think this gives everybody an opportunity to learn a little bit more. And I mean, heck, let's go back. Tell us a little about your family. You got brothers, sister?
Yeah. I got a younger brother. He is a new freshman in college, just graduated high school. He goes to Grand Canyon University back in Arizona. Mm-hmm. He played football in high school too. He was a center, but you know, just kind of did the high school thing, and now he's having a great time in college. So, was he a long snapper? Did you force him to be a long snapper just to practice? No, he did kick one or two games, I think, when they in his JV days when they didn't have a kicker. And he actually did pretty good, so he has that the kicker in him still. But I never really played long snapper.
Now, one of the things we read is that football wasn't your initial route, which is probably not unusual for kickers. It looks like you were big into soccer at the time. Was that something you played since you were young, and when did you cross over to football?
So I started. I've been playing soccer my whole life. Starting back in little peewee ball. And growing up playing soccer on club teams and travel teams. And I enjoyed it, but it got to the point where I didn't. And it was just too much. There was a lot of politics involved in club soccer, and I didn't have the same passion that I did. And so I stopped. And but when I stopped playing soccer, that's when I was getting into high school. And I took a year off of soccer, came back into it my sophomore year of high school, and played for one season. But then I'm sure, as we'll discuss later, my transition to football, my soccer coach in high school had a big influence in that. And so did my teammates on my high school team. Having that foundation of playing soccer in my youth, and it definitely, you have a lot of soccer players that become football kickers. It's right. It's kind of normal nowadays to just have someone who played soccer their whole life become a kicker for the high school team, and then eventually, if they go to play college and even pro.
Now, did the high school football coach? I think I know you had some coaching along the way, but I'm just curious. Did the coach grab you in the hall of the high school and say, Dominic, we really need a kicker. Have you ever tried kicking? Or how did this, or did you just walk on the field and say, hey, coach, I got you?
Yeah. So the way it happened was one of my teammates that I was playing soccer with was like, because I went to a smaller high school. So a lot of people played multiple sports. And Tony Gomez, one of my teammates, was like, we need a kicker because I think the one had just graduated, and we need one for the next season. So I was like, well, I'll give it a shot. And I mean, why not, right? And so, I went up to Coach Peterson during that year and just was like, hey, I'm interested in, trying out for the kicking spot. I mean, I have no experience, but I'm willing to, put in the work and do whatever you want me to do. And he was really happy to hear that. And so that's where it kind of took off.
That's
Well, no, I was just going to say it was interesting that you said it was the soccer coach that actually brought up the opportunity to play football. Because I would have thought he would have hoarded you. Like, I guess maybe they're different seasons, but I would have been. He thought he would have been like,
yeah,
no, you can't go do football. We got the season to worry about.
So I know here you guys get snow in the winter, so you can't do much outdoors. But in Arizona, we have soccer season in the winter, so you can play football in the fall, and then after football, you can play in the winter. So he was all for it too, and the soccer coach's name is Ben Jones. He's actually a big Michigan fan. So when I committed here, he was super happy to hear that because he was the one that was like pushing me to go talk to the football coach because I was nervous. I was a little sophomore. I was like, I don't want to go talk to the head football coach. That's big. And he was like, no, it's fine. Like, you're gonna do great. Just go talk to him, and basically forced me to go ask him if I could try out for the kicking spot. And so he was like he was the one that pushed me into that.
And then did you have to prove yourself in tryouts?
Yeah, I mean, like I said, it was a smaller school, so no one else really was going for the spot at the time, which is probably good for me because I would have been benched for whoever wanted to try out because I wasn't very good. But I'm thankful that I was given the chance and was given time to develop.
Well, you must be a fast learner because you said you weren't any good, but you scored like 74 points as a senior in 2021, and you were 62 or 65 on extra points. You set an Arizona Class 3A record in 2020 with a 55-yard field goal, and this is in high school, folks. And you were first team All-State honors, and you were ranked a 5-star by the Coles kicking camp. And for those listening and aren't familiar with specialist camps, I mean, Coles kicking, punting, and long snapping is like the single biggest stage for specialists in America, and it's like the most trusted evaluation resource by college coaches, and they rank them for ESPN, and they also select them from Under Armour. Now, despite all that success, specialists don't seem to get a lot of love from a recruiting standpoint. I mean, here you are setting records, kicking, 55-yard field goals, and it doesn't appear that you had a ton of offers coming out of high school. I mean, walk us through the recruiting process that you experienced.
Yeah. So specialists, they're kind of the last to get picked in the recruiting class. The coaches usually think about the quarterback first and the wide receivers and all the skill and the O-line and the D-line. And then, oh, crap, we need a kicker. So usually the recruiting process doesn't start till the senior year. And if you're lucky, it'll be early into your senior year. For me, especially because I was late into the game, started playing football my junior year of high school. I was already late to the game, so I had to go to as many of those Cole camps as I could to just kind of get myself out there. Okay, of course. Go to as many camps as I could and just kind of, give as much, put as much out there as I could to display what I could do. And that's really all I could do. And I'm lucky that I caught the eye of Arkansas State because there was not much else out there for me because, I mean, specialists, it's already slim pickings, and especially during COVID when everyone got a second year for free.
Yeah.
Everyone just kind of stuck with who they had. There was no real need to get a kicker. So it was already slim pickings from that. And the fact that I was late, and all those things kind of just it all boiled down. And I'm lucky that I was seen by Arkansas State, because they eventually gave me a chance to just even walk on, and I took it and did as much as I could with it.
Now it's go ahead, Dan.
Were you still playing soccer at the time, like your junior and senior year when you were playing football? Were you still doing soccer as well?
I played soccer my junior year. So we had football, and then I played soccer my junior year. And then after my senior year of football, I wanted to focus as much of my time to recruiting and traveling. A lot of my time in my winter and spring semester of my senior year was spent at camps and going on visits and just recruiting. It would have been really hard to play soccer and do all that stuff. So I didn't play my senior season, but I did play my junior season.
No, that's kind of where I was going to, which was, I know it was you said it was slim pickings between COVID made recruiting, weird, especially for specialists, but also, but you did know that ultimately your next step was going to be going to college to kick. What was it? I know you mentioned late into the game in terms of starting your junior year, didn't have a ton of scouts or recruiting activity, but you knew you wanted to do it. Was it just the success you had, or was there somebody else or something else that in your process, like, what, I can really do this at the next level and I can do it really well?
Yeah. So I was really blessed to meet Steve Roush, who I met through a family friend, Kevin Minifield. And I met him. He played football. He kicked at the University or Arizona State University back in the day. And he had been training just some specialists in the Valley. Nothing too crazy, like 2 or 3 other specialists at the time. And I just hit him up because I needed help, all the help I could get. And he was more than happy to take me in. And when we didn't have school because of COVID or anything like that, we were spending all of our time just training and kind of getting me up to speed with everyone else. And then, he had the resources to contact coaches and get me looked at by coaches with his contacts and his connections. So he was a great resource, and I'm really glad that I met him, because I'm not sure I would be where I am today without him. So he was amazing, and I credit a lot of my success to him.
Man, it's always nice to have people, help. Yeah. Obviously your talent, but to break through it. It'll be interesting to see, Dan, I know like everyone has heard of the 85 scholarship limit, but the NCAA at Division I football, but I think it's becoming somewhat irrelevant in today's NIL world. There's a lot of guys beyond the 85. So it'll be interesting to see if specialist recruiting changes in the future. Yeah. So because they don't have to worry about the scarce resources of 85 scholarships and going for wide receivers, offensive linemen, all that kind of stuff, because specialists are so critical. I mean, teams have won and lost games, obviously, and there's a lot of points being scored. Now it's interesting. You said you walked on to Arkansas State. I guess you could have walked on anywhere. Why Arkansas State, last I looked at the map, is not near Arizona. There's a lot of schools in California and Arizona that you could have walked on. How did you get to Arkansas?
So, Steve knew Cody Schexenator, who I got in contact with via Twitter or X, and we talked. And he was very interested in me. He just didn't have the resources to give me a scholarship at the time, and which I understood. But he showed a lot of interest in me, and the fact that especially because at the time, Blake Grupe was there, and he had transferred out and went to Notre Dame. And so he was their starter for a long time. So the starting spot was open, and there was going to be a competition the next year, which that also drew a lot of my attention, because I wanted to, go in and make an immediate impact, because that's how you're going to get a scholarship, is immediate impact. You're not going to get a scholarship by sitting on the bench. So I wanted to go in there and make an immediate impact on wherever I went. And Cody Schexenator, or Coach Shex, DM'd me, and then I got in contact with the coordinator, who eventually offered me a PWO, or preferred walk-on, which means, you don't really have to walk on. You're on the team. You're just paying for it. So as soon as I got that offer, that PWO offer, I committed and knew that was a spot that was very, very it was very calling. I was very excited about it because I knew that there'd be a chance that I could start the next year.
Well, you must have wowed them quickly, because my understanding is you got a scholarship. You were put on scholarship before your first season started. You didn't have to prove yourself through 5 games. You got the nod right away, it sounds like.
Yeah. So it was, like I said, it was a competition between me, Aiden Ellison, and Tristan Matson. All 3 of them, or all 2 of them, great guys, great kickers, absolutely excellent kickers. And so I knew it was going to be a hard battle going into fall camp, because all of us were worthy of the job. And it all just came down to just taking advantage of your opportunities. And, I just had the mentality of every time that I stepped on the field, it could be my last, so I needed to make it count. So with that mentality, I impressed the coaches enough to offer me a scholarship, and it's a pretty cool story. We had our team banquet with all of our donors during fall camp, like the Saturday before our opening game, and so our field house was full of donors, maybe 150, 200 people, and the whole team was there too, just sitting with them, talking to them. And so we all ate, and then we sat down, and then Coach Jones, the head coach, went on the stage and, started doing his thing, thanking all the donors. And then all of a sudden, I hear my name, and I'm like, what's going on? Like, why is he saying my name? So I walk up there, and I'm just kind of confused. Looking back on it now, I should have been a little more like, come on, man, like this, exactly what's going on. But in the moment, I was like, what the heck? And from behind him, he pulls out a red folder and opens it, and it says athletic scholarship on it. And the whole place was electric and blew up, and it was a really special moment for me. Something I'll remember for the rest of my life.
And that's awesome. So you had no idea that was coming.
No idea. Looking back on it now, I should have seen it coming, but I had no idea. I was completely caught off guard.
That makes it even better.
Yeah.
And he asked me to say some words after that whole thing happened, and I just sat at the microphone, and I'm like, I don't even know what to say right now. I'm just speechless.
Well, so I know that over the years, we've probably all seen these fun things on maybe ESPN where people are getting punked about where they get their scholarship and they think they're getting arrested, or I've seen some of those. We had Max Bredesen on earlier in the year, and Max tells a story. Max started as a walk-on, and then obviously he's a captain now. He's on scholarship, right. But he told a story of how he thought he was being let go. They had an end of season meeting with Coach Harbaugh, sitting on the couch. Harbaugh's telling him some story about the couch, and Max I forget the exact story Harbaugh was telling, but it sounded like a bad story for Max. Like Max thought, am I being let go? And no, man, you're being put on scholarship. So what a great accomplishment. And so now you had 2 great years at Arkansas State. I mean, I look at your stats. You played 25 games, 71 out of 72 on PATs. 1 was blocked. Maybe not your fault. We're not going to blame anybody, but 71 out of 72. And then you were 34 of 40 on field goals and a perfect 4 for 4 at Ohio State, which, as you've learned, we don't like Ohio State.
No.
And then you were on the Lou Groza, which, again, for people, this is the highest honor, for kickers, and you were a semifinalist, watch list. When, at what point, you were doing great at Arkansas State. At what point did you say, I think I'm going to try a different school? How'd that come about?
So after my first season at Arkansas State, I was getting a lot of pressure to enter the portal just because I had such a great year. And a lot of outside factors were kind of pressuring me, like, you have to do this. This is what you want to do. This is what you should do. And I felt like it wasn't the time. I felt like I needed another year to develop. And just kind of be in that atmosphere and be in that comfortable space, just one more year, so that I could mature a little bit more as a player, and just learn more. And I'm really glad I did, because my sophomore year, I felt like, even on paper, it might not look better. It might, statistically, I had a better season my freshman year, but I definitely learned a lot more my sophomore year, and it was a lot more valuable. If I would have gone somewhere else, I'm not sure I would have played the whole season, because I started the season off 0-2. So I'm not exactly sure what would have happened, but I'm really glad I stayed, and developed a little bit more. So after my second season, I still felt like, maybe it isn't time. Let's go through spring ball and see what happens after spring ball. And during spring ball this year, I guess, I felt like after or midway through it, I was like, this is the time. I feel ready. I feel like it's time for me to go ahead and enter. Mentally, I feel like I'm ready, and physically, I feel like I'm the best I've ever been. So when that spring portal window opened, that's when I took my shot.
Now, why did you think? I'm just curious. Well, so many questions. Now, first of all, you said outside people were giving you pressure.
Yeah.
If you can't answer, don't. You're not under oath, but I mean, were these outside coaches saying, Dominic, we would like for you to come to our school, and going outside the transfer portal?
No, not really. Not like collegiate coaches or
Okay.
coaches of other teams. Just
Okay.
like I don't really know what to
Okay.
call them, but like, yeah. Not college coaches. No rules were broken.
Okay. No. Okay. For those listening, if the NCAA is listening, no rules were broken. Of
No
course,
rules were broken.
no rules were broken. And I'm just curious then, why did those folks think that you needed to transfer to meet your goals, that you couldn't meet those at Arkansas State?
I don't know. I mean, for a kicker, you can try and tell yourself that it's going to be the same no matter where you're at, and that's true.
Right.
The uprights are the same. You kick the same ball. So when the only thing that's really different from group of 5 to Power 5 to the NFL is the atmosphere, and game day. And so I didn't feel like I was ready for that after my first year. And but after my second year and after spring ball, I felt like mentally I was prepared. And even if I did have a bad game, I wouldn't let fans or anything like that affect me for the rest of the season.
Now, when you ultimately did transfer to Michigan, did you know that beforehand that ASU and Michigan played?
I did. It's funny because those games are always looked at on the schedule as super fun. Like, you get to go play in a big time atmosphere. Like last year we played at Oklahoma, and the year before we obviously played Ohio State. And then this year they played here, and then they go to Ames, Iowa, at Iowa State next week. So those are always the games that you look forward to, because you get to experience the pinnacle of college football. So I definitely knew, even before I was thinking about entering the portal, that I was going to be at the big house, but I never thought I'd be on the other side.
Did you ever think when you were picking transfer, and this is pretty stupid, but in my mind, sometimes I wonder why kickers don't just transfer to the highest altitude school possible, so you can set every record possible. Just go play it, like, I don't know.
That's where golfers go.
They call Colorado or something.
Yeah, just go and just boom 70 yarders. Did that ever cross your mind?
Yeah. No, I mean, I wanted to go. I wanted to go to a school like, you can go to Colorado. You can go to Colorado State or somewhere that's really high in elevation. But it's more about the opportunity that the coach you want to play for. I feel like that's more important to me and to most kickers, because if you never really get the opportunity to kick a 71-yarder, then there's no point in transferring somewhere that will So I wanted to play for a coach that valued special teams, valued his kickers, and a place that had great history with kickers. And obviously Michigan has all those things, so it was a perfect fit.
I think you picked the one stadium in the country that's actually below the ground. Most of the field is below ground since it's dug into So you may have went the wrong way. Either way, that's going to be when they adjust that. When you make your NFL run. Not only did I kick almost below sea level, but I kicked in one of the coldest places possible. So you're ready for anything at this point.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You got every box checked.
Yeah.
Now, when you entered the portal, I mean, I remember seeing an article about great landing places. This guy, some talking head, great landing places for Dominic Zvada. It was 5 schools. By the way, Michigan wasn't one of the 5. But it made, on the surface, it made some sense. Like the 2 schools that I remember, one was Arkansas, which is clearly in the backyard of Arkansas State, and they had lost Cam Little to the NFL, and 2 other guys, I think 2 other specialists to the portal. So they needed a kicker. And then Alabama lost Will, the all-time NCAA Division I scoring leader, to the NFL. Did either, I didn't see that on, like, I don't know if you visited those schools. Did they call? I'm just curious.
Yeah. So I tried to, when I entered the portal, I tried to step away from social media just so that I could focus at, like, everything that was important to me. And that was my family. That was my friends. And that was Steve. Those were the only factors that I wanted to consider when making my decision. I didn't want, Arkansas fans or Alabama fans, blowing up my phone and me be like, oh, this is super awesome. I'll go play for them because, that they're so great. So I kept, when I went to the portal, I kept everything that I did pretty private, just due to that. I did visit Arkansas, and that was because, it's about a 3.5 hour drive from where I was at. Mm-hmm. So it made it pretty easy to go and just visit. And they were great. They were awesome. The facilities were really nice. The stadium's super cool. And it was a great time. I didn't visit Alabama. The only thing that Alabama did was follow me on Twitter. But then as soon as the Groza winner entered the portal, I knew that he was probably going to go there. So and that's what happened. So I didn't hear much from Alabama. The only other school that I was really considering was Ole Miss, and that was because my old coordinator and analyst from my freshman season at Arkansas State both went there my sophomore year. So it would have been really cool to connect with them. But obviously Michigan reached out and things just kind of took off from there.
Now, did you visit for the spring game this year?
I didn't. I was actually that was the weekend that I went to Arkansas. Okay. But while I was in the car, I had the game on because it was nationally televised, which I thought was awesome. Most spring games aren't nationally televised, so it was great to be able to watch because I knew that I was talking to him, and I wanted to kind of I knew I wasn't going to be able to visit. I just wanted to take in all the information I could. And so I did watch the spring game as I was headed up to the Arkansas U of A for my visit.
Now, it sounds like you have a special relationship with this, Steve. What else? Well, why Michigan? Ultimately, you had some good choices. You could have gone with a guy with your skills. There are a lot of schools that would, if you had reached out to them, they would have said, "Oh yeah, we'd love to talk to you." What was it about Michigan?
Michigan just produces NFL talent. They're among the leaders of sending people to NFL rosters, and I think they're up there like one of the highest schools to have people currently in the NFL. And obviously, this past draft class was just ridiculous. So, I wanted to be a part of that. I wanted, my goal is to make it to the NFL, and Michigan does a very good job of producing NFL talent and, showing you and having scouts come in and they just do things the right way here. And that's something I wanted to be a part of. Another thing was I wanted to be part of a school with rich tradition and rich history. Michigan, the winningest program in college football history. It's something special to be a part of. And playing in the largest arena in college football is also something that not a lot of people can say. And I want to be a part of both those things. And, to wear the maize and blue is something special. And a lot of people would give up many things to do that. So, that those things are what I considered, and that's ultimately why I chose this school.
Now, as a kid, I moved like every 2 years, and I know being a new guy in a new town can be tough. So you're a new guy. You walk in the building. I don't know if you had any pre-existing relationships with any of the guys. There's 100 plus guys in Schembechler. I'm just curious, how did that transition go?
Yeah. Well, I was a little intimidated, going from a small, not small, but a group of 5 school to a team that just won a national championship. It can be kind of intimidating to go in there and just be like, yeah, I'm part of the team. And, especially with high profile guys like Donovan and Colston and Will, you're like, oh my gosh, like I'm just like friends with, I'm like teammates with all these guys now. And they're so like popular and they're so awesome. And it's like, I'm kind of scared of them, but they were great. The second I walk into the building, all those thoughts just left my head, and they're dapping me up and they're saying what's up. They're introducing themselves. I knew Tommy Doman just through like camps and just kind of being a specialist. But he's really, and Adam Samaha too, do the same sort of thing. But other than that, I didn't really know any of the specialists personally. But they were all great. They welcomed me with open arms, and I felt like part of the team instantly. And they did a great job of introducing me to the other position groups and just making me feel at home. And it didn't take long for me to feel that way.
Oh, that's awesome. That's awesome. Well, we're glad you're here. You've had for those following along here, we're recording this through 3 games. We just finished the Arkansas State game. Obviously, Dominic was there, and you're 5 for 5 on field goals. You've had 3 of them over 50. You are the second place kicker in U of M history to have 2 field goals of 50 yards or more in a single game.
Really?
Yeah. Now, Jake Moody, I think this is right. Jake Moody holds the record for the longest field goal, 59-yard field goal in 2022 Fiesta Bowl against TCU.
I remember that.
Yeah. So we got to ask, what's your range? Good. Let's assume perfect weather. Perfect weather.
Yeah. So I'll start with the longest kick I've ever just tried in practice, and that's 60. I've made a 67-yard kick in practice, but that was with lots of wind at my back. And so if we're talking like if I'm placed in the Fiesta Bowl at the same time, the same conditions, it's indoors, we're on grass, and just coach just says, go out there and smoke it. I could probably go back 62, 63 and be comfortable.
That's good, because when you hit that 55-yarder, now I had a couple drinks, but I yelled at the guy next to me that you had another 15 yards on that kick. So I wasn't that far off, actually, now that I think about it.
And what's funny is
it did look like it had another.
This is gonna sound.
That one was.
This is gonna sound. Yeah, this is gonna sound arrogant, but I didn't kick that ball very well. That wasn't my best kick. So if I would have made perfect contact on that, I would have had an extra 5 yards on that. So
hey, I love the confidence. You sound like I'm not a kicker. I play a little bit of golf, and that sounds like every golfer. Like you hit a great shot. You go, yeah, I hit it off the toe. Yeah, it was my greatest hit.
Yeah.
So that's good. I like
Jake
that.
Moody's on our mind because we just talked about the Fiesta Bowl. I want to let you know something, Dominic. Despite all of Jake Moody's success, did you know my dad, I want to put him on blast here, never watched one of his field goals?
No, it's bad luck.
Didn't watch.
You wouldn't watch? You'd turn away?
Just turn away, look away. And I remember.
And Dominic, truth be told, I haven't seen any of your field goals go through the upright. because of that, it's superstitious. I know people wear the same socks or whatever. Mine is with field goals. I look down, and then I just hear the crowd. And it's a painful few seconds. It feels like it's eternity, waiting for the crowd reaction.
I have to tap him like, "Hey, it went in." I remember.
Yeah.
Moody was like, I don't know, at some point, like 40 of 42 or something on the season. I was like,
you
can just watch. Like, it's all right.
Yeah, like he's automatic. Nope. He's not going to miss.
He's stuck with it.
So what was I'm just curious. So, our first game of the year, big stage, night game, national television. fun night. Everyone's jacked up. I mean, your first game, what was the feeling like?
Well, I was obviously very excited and I'm not gonna lie, a little nervous. So especially being a night game, you wake up and you just have to sit around the whole day and wait for the game to come. So that whole Saturday, I was just trying to keep myself focused, and it was hard because you want to go out there and just immediately start playing, and so the specialists, Tommy Doman, William Wagner, and Greg Tarr, who I was with in the hotel, were all great. They helped me, stay composed, and they just told me there's nothing different from what you did at A-State to here. It's the same ball, the same field goals. It's on the same field. The field's the same size. So, yeah. and everything we did in fall camp, I had a great fall camp, and they're like, you did great, and there's nothing different. The post is the same size. It's the same hold, the same snap, and that's another thing too. Is when you have a great holder and a great snapper and great protection, it really takes the mind of a kicker is so much better when all that stuff is working well. When you're not having to think about if someone's coming off the edge or if someone's going to blow up through the A gap. Or if the hold's going to be off, or if the snap's going to be off. When you don't have to worry about any of that stuff, it makes the kicker's mind a lot better. So I knew that everything was going to be right, and I just had to focus on what I had to do. And ultimately, when I got to the game and started pregame warmups, I felt like I was in my element. I felt like I was at home, and it was just time to go to work.
Now, I have to ask, how's your throwing arm?
Not very good. No, I kick the ball a lot better than I can throw.
Okay, so, well, this is a head fake to other teams, but is there, any special plays where you're going to fake field goal and you're going to throw it?
I've been talking to JB about putting one in where I run up where they flick it behind or Tommy flicks it behind me and I just take off. And I've been talking to JB about that, so maybe we'll get that in there one of these weeks.
Because it doesn't have to be throwing, Dad. Like, he could use his soccer speed and just pull around outside. That's probably
or maybe a little option where if the defensive end comes off and comes towards me, I just dump it off to the tight end, or if he sticks with the tight end, then I just take off and get the first down or the touchdown.
There you go. So we've talked to enough guys, and we get I think we have a pretty good sense of, practice, practice is like for everybody other than specialists. But, you guys I don't think you're kicking for hours straight. I think you kick live on Tuesdays and Thursdays.
Yes.
But walk us through a week for specialists as a week of practice, in-season practice.
Mm-hmm. So, kickers and pitchers, like baseball pitchers, are very similar in the fact that we use one specific part of our body a lot, and we do the same motion over and over again. And so you can't do it for hours on end like you would in basketball or something like that, where you can just grind free throws. You can't just grind like field goals, because you'll pull something, or you'll tear something, and you'll just feel sore, and you won't get any better. So you have to kind of find the sweet spot of the perfect amount of kicks and the perfect amount of time that you spend kicking, and you have to maximize those reps that you get. So like you said, we only kick Tuesdays and Thursdays during the season, and that's just to reduce what we call pitch count for our legs, so that we're not, dragging our leg onto the field on Saturday. And another thing that we do is we spend a lot of time in the training room and getting treatment. I spend a lot of time in the cold tubs and the hot tubs before practice, just to keep my leg feeling as light as possible. Because when your leg feels light, then you're going to be able to swing. And so you never really want your leg to feel heavy. That's the worst feeling, is going into practice or a game and your leg's heavy and it's going to be a long game. So we really maximize the reps that we take, but we don't take a lot of reps. And then we spend a lot of time warming up and cooling down.
Now, Do you get tempted to go in there and lift the heavy weights with the offensive linemen just to kind of say, hey, guys, I can do this too? Or,
Well, I mean, we're all football players, so we all do the same thing. They just might have a little more weight on there, but, we're all doing the same movements.
I think you should just challenge them to, your favorite lift, but just half the body weight. So whatever half your body weight is, that's what you have to do. Number of reps, half body weight for a 300-something pound guy. I mean, now specialists, sometimes in the NFL, some of these specialists are kind of characters, and, almost like no one hangs around with them a little bit. It doesn't sound like that's the case at Michigan or you're, for you specifically.
No, we're part of the team for sure. And all the guys love us. And, I'll have offensive linemen coming up to me and talking about their plans for the night. And, if I want to come join them or, I hang out with Tuttle and Warren and, they're great guys and the whole quarterback group is awesome. They're really cool guys. Everyone in the building's awesome. They don't look at me or look at the specialists as specialists. We're part of the team. We're one of the guys. So really appreciative. And that all starts from the coaching staff because they treat us like that too. They don't look at us and just kind of ignore us and shoo us off. And then on game day, it's like, well, why aren't you ready? So we're treated very well, and we're very blessed to be treated well by the staff and by the players.
I have a couple practice questions or questions related to practice or just kicking in general. But how often do you practice onside kicks? The rules have changed too. I think the conversion of them is like less than 10%, but they'll come up every once in a while. And you see a couple techniques. You see the fly, the little sand wedge. Sometimes you'll see the spike, the rollover. But I am really curious. How often do you practice onside kicks?
So practicing onside kicks it's very easy on the legs. So you can do them pretty much every day. So whenever we have a little bit of time, we'll just go out there practicing all the different types of kicks that we could possibly do. And we have a game plan each week, and we have a specific onside kick each week. But we practice every single one pretty often, just because it's so easy to do and it doesn't take a lot of strain on the leg.
I'm also curious. I used to wonder why punters were always the holders. Why there wasn't someone who I don't know. I'd never figure out why that was a thing. But my guess is part of it's repertoire, you're on the same practice schedule, so when they're not punting, you're not kicking, you can both work on holding and all the place. But I'm just curious, are there more reasons to why punters are typically the holders in the field goal unit?
That's exactly what it is you have that bond. Obviously we're all friends with the whole team, but especially the specialists, you're with each other every day, and you're in the same meeting room. And I think about Peyton Woodring, who's at Georgia, and his holder is Carson Beck. And so, they have a great opportunity to throw in a lot of fakes. And I'm sure a lot of the teams that Georgia plays have to game plan, what if Carson Beck rolls out a field goal formation? You have to game plan for that. But I can't imagine they get a lot of time together working and outside of field goal period. They're not in the same meeting room. I can't imagine all the time, talking about, hey, this hold was great. This one's slightly off. They might talk about that in practice, but it's really great when you get to spend the entirety of, being in the facility. I'm with Tommy, pretty much from the time I enter the facility till the time I leave. So me and him, we have a really good chemistry. And that's what you need when you have a holder and a kicker, because you need to be able to trust them, and they need to be able to trust you. So, if a snap is high, and nothing against Wags, because he throws it perfectly every single time, but if a snap were to be low, I know it's still going to get picked up and put where it needs to be, because me and Tommy have that relationship.
That's awesome. Are there any guys on the team, non-specialists, that think they can kick and either can or can't? I'm just curious, because I think it was Chad Ochocinco that actually got to kick in a game.
Yeah.
He said he could kick for the longest time, and they actually all right, fine, you can kick, and he was pretty good. Do we have any hidden Chad Ochocincos, or any maybe guys who think they can kick, but maybe can't?
Yeah, so I think of immediately what comes to head is Kalel Mullins, because he during one of our fall camp scrimmages, we were in the big house, and the specialists get there early because it's only one field, and during practice, the whole field is taken up with the rest of the team. So we get there early and kick before everyone else gets there, so we have access to the whole field. And so as players are rolling in, all the kickers and punters are out there already doing their thing, and everyone wants to go up and try and kick one. And Kalel came up and he tried to kick it, and he did all right. I mean, I feel like with a little bit of practice, he's got a really strong leg. He could definitely be an emergency backup if something were to ever happen.
Awesome. I see these things. I see these things. Along these lines, where they're having their college game day is somewhere. One of the they got the guys trying to kick some kid out of the stand. How long if somebody had like a decent athlete but wasn't a kicker?
Uh-huh.
And they gave you a few hours with that, could you make them like passable? Could they kick like a 20-yarder?
I think the shortest one they let in game day is 33 yards. I think.
Oh,
I think
okay.
That's right.
I think that's a NFL PAT.
Okay.
33 yards. So
yeah, what do you think? 2 hours? Could you get them ready?
2 hours. And they're a decent athlete. I think I could. I have I'm pretty confident in my coaching ability. I'm very inexperienced in coaching, but I feel like to kick a 33-yarder, I feel like I could get someone to do that.
I think the challenge with some of those kids though is they may be slightly impaired that morning.
Yeah.
So the coaching may not be the issue. No, we've talked about the physical. All joking aside, we have talked. So we've talked about the physical.
Game day, though.
Oh, what's that?
Well, I mean, the logistics wouldn't work for a noon game, but Dominic, theoretically, your disguise is good enough. Like maybe a night game, quick way to make an extra $50,000, sneak over there.
Yeah.
Boot one through.
You ever thought about that? I'd have to really try and make it look like it barely went in. Otherwise, I feel like Pat would get suspicious.
That's true. If you put it like 60 yards out, they'd be like,
you absolutely sail it in there. He's going to be like, what?
That'd be a great troll job. So, we talked a little bit about the physical and the practice, but, I suspect the mental aspect of kicking is super important, and controlling your emotions and focus. The crowd's going nuts. I read somewhere where you practice visualization in EA Sports. All you did was log on and kick field goals. But seriously, what are there things that you go through mentally during the week for practice?
Yeah. So, I mean, kicking is probably 99% mental. There's a lot of physically great kickers around the country, and only a certain few are able to succeed because they're mentally strong and they can handle the pressure of the moment. And that all comes down to preparation. Beforehand and during the week. And some of the things I do is, like you said, I play that EA Sports game. There's something about it. And it's not just an excuse to play the game, which is what people on Twitter were saying. They're like, oh, he's just trying to find an excuse to play the game all the time. And no, I mean, but something about seeing the ball in the stadium going through the uprights just does something to you. It almost makes you feel like when you're on game day that you've been in that moment before and that you've succeeded before and you can do it again. And so that's something big that I do that I assume not a lot of people have tried before, but I encourage people to try it if they are collegiate kickers. Another thing I do is I have a mental performance coach that I've been talking to since the beginning of fall camp and in the summer. Her name is Susie Freeman. And she's back in Arizona. I met her through Steve as well, and she's been amazing. She encourages. We've done. I don't know if you've ever heard of Brian Kane, but he's a mental performance coach, and he has the mental performance mastery program. And I went through that during fall camp. It's like a 30-day course that you you go through, and it gives you tips and tricks and ways to elevate your game through your mentality. And that was something big, and that's something that I credit my success to, is that was huge for me, and that's kind of what elevates people from being kickers that are great in practice to being able to do it in the game.
Wow. I mean, so bottom line is anybody that tries to ice you by calling a timeout, is just wasting a timeout at this point.
There's a lot more that goes into preparation than just going to the practice field for kickers. It's a week's worth of work, and it's not all done in Schembechler Hall.
So outside of football and outside of Schembechler Hall, curious, what are you currently studying at U of M?
I'm currently an economics major, so I'm taking a lot of math classes right now.
Okay.
What you?
I was an economics major at Michigan too. So
were you really?
You're in good company. Yeah.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Congratulations.
Yeah.
I did not have to. I was not attending mental performance mastery courses in my spare time, but yeah.
He did just fine.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Well, that's great. Now Michigan is pretty rigorous, and you guys don't have a lot of time. And I know you guys have some academic support, but what have you found is key for you to balance being great at football and doing the academic piece as well?
Yeah, that's a great question. The thing that I try and do is maximize the time I have. And so whether that's, I get to the facility and we have meetings, but then we have, 2 hours before practice then starts, because O&D meet, but the specialists, all they have is their specialist meeting and special teams, and then we have a little bit of time. So that time slot I usually spend doing some homework, trying to just chip away. I try and spend Sundays, while it's a great day to relax. I also try and take a little bit off my plate so that the week I don't have to worry about as much. Just little things like that. Always trying to stay ahead so that, when I'm on game day and, it's Friday in the hotel and Saturday morning, I'm not worried about the assignment that I do Monday or the test or quiz that I might have the next week, because I'm already on top of it.
That's great.
What were you studying economics at A-State?
I was studying oh crap, I can't even think of it. It was like a it was financial management, so similar. But I wasn't planning on going into Ross when I transferred here. So economics was a great major, and that's what I chose.
Yeah, it's awesome, and I know it. Like you said, it can be rigorous because you got math and a lot of computational stuff. You've got sort of theory. So yeah, it's a pretty diverse study. Good, yeah, that's good on you, man. That's really super impressive. Yeah. And when we started this podcast, we knew that there were going to be these awesome, both fans and alumni who maybe didn't appreciate as much of what went into the 3.5 hours they see on Saturday. But just the thought of you in the hotel before a huge game, having to think about your assignment Monday, that's just the stuff that you think goes a long way to show just how organized and hardworking and you're just incredibly driven. You have to be a student athlete at Michigan and lots of places too. But we love those little stories because I don't think people appreciate them enough.
Yeah, and we have a great support staff, and the academic staff too. They're great at helping us make sure that we stay on top of things and are organized. They really help us out, and they'll if we need tutors or anything like that, they'll get that done like that. So they're also great, and it would definitely be a lot harder without them. And I'm not sure a lot of people would be able to stay eligible or pass classes without them.
Yeah.
So when you're done with your NFL career, what professional ventures outside of football are you interested in? Or maybe it's coaching in football, but as you think about life after football, what does that look like?
I've thought about coaching before. I've thought more about soccer coaching. I don't really know a whole lot about football scheme. starting when I was a junior in high school. I could not tell you, different formations on offense, I don't know anything about defense.
Well, you'll fit right in the stands of Michigan Stadium, I'll tell you that.
Yeah, right. Like be a Twitter coach. That's what I would do.
Exactly.
Yeah, we have a lot of experts that don't know anything either. So trust me, stay off. Yeah. My pro tip today, second one is, sign up for Brugers.com and get your coffee, when you order online. But the other one is stay off social media as much as possible during the season because it's crazy.
Yeah.
I remember being crazy last year, and we were undefeated and won a national championship. Yeah. Internet can't be happy. But so soccer coaching, that's interesting. And is that just – I assume that inversely, you do feel like you know the scheme, and even though it's been a few years since you played, that's interesting. Yeah.
Yeah, just something like it wouldn't be like my whole profession. I've thought a lot about going into like financial advising or financial planning. That's why I chose an economics and financial management degree. But just like coaching at a local high school, just kind of. Because that sounds like a really good time to me. I'd love to do it and kind of pour into kids, and be able to kind of that's just I don't know. This just feels like something I'd want to do and it'd be a lot of fun.
Sure. Now, recently saw that you were and a lot of guys. These are released on Instagram and places. You were signed, quote unquote, signed by Champion Circle, which, again, for folks listening, that's the largest collective that kind of helps with Michigan athletics in today's brave new NIL world. How did that? Was that something that was discussed during your recruitment? Was that important to you to choose Michigan, or was that after the fact?
Well, so yeah, in the sense that they're the ones that were gonna pay for my schooling and my housing and stuff like that. So it was very important. I wasn't gonna go anywhere that I was gonna have to pay for school.
Right.
That's just it's a lot of money, and especially Michigan out of state is a lot of money.
Yeah.
So, as much as I would have loved to come here, if they weren't going to be able to offer me some, financial help, I probably would have had to have declined. But they're amazing. They're really cool. They are always reaching out, making sure we're good. They're around the facility all the time. They're awesome people. Super, super blessed to have them. They're just great people, and they're very easy to work with. And they made the transition from Arkansas to Michigan super smooth, and I haven't had any issues whatsoever with them.
Now, just curious, again, brave new world that for NIL and everybody. Are you working on? You got any deals? You got headphones? You got a new car? You got what? A beach house?
I'm not quite to that Will Johnson status yet. I'm getting my own Beats headphones, but hopefully one day I'll be there.
What would be your top NIL deal? Like if you could pick anyone to connect with, who would it be?
I would. I'm looking just kind of across from me, and if you can look, there's my Wii right down there. I'd love to give the whole team a Wii console so that I could go over to their house and play Wii golf with them, because that's like one of my favorite things to do.
I was going to ask if you're Wii golf or Wii tennis or Wii boxing. It sounds like I
love Wii golf. Wii frisbee golf, all that stuff. I got it set up right here, and whenever the guys come over, we always play. And so having like a cool personalized Michigan Wii set up in everyone's place would probably be a dream.
Okay. We'll have to make sure
too, like getting people a gift, but then being better at them at that gift, just so you could beat them all at it.
Yeah, like I give it to them, and then
that's awesome.
Yeah, then I go over to their place and I shoot the record on their console.
Out. You're welcome.
Yeah, we drop. By the way, when you panned around your place there, Dan, his place is nicer than any of the places I know I lived in when I was a student, and a lot nicer than anything you lived in as a student. So the game has certainly gotten better for housing it in Ann Arbor. Based on that little.
I wouldn't say my places were the bar to clear, but sure.
How did you? You committed in April. I don't know when you got to Ann Arbor, but how did you spend your summer? Did you? Did you take classes, any internship or anything of that nature?
So yeah, I joined a little too late to hop on the internship or class train. So I pretty much just spent my summer lifting and kicking. It was a pretty chill summer, which was kind of nice in a sense. It gave me a chance to, after all the stress of switching schools and having to apply to a new university and then moving, 10 hours away, it was nice to get a break. And it definitely gave me a chance to kind of let go. I was able to go visit my girlfriend who's back in Arkansas. She lives in St. Louis, but she goes to school in Arkansas. So It gave me a good chance to go see her a couple times, and then also be able to go home a little bit back in Arizona. So it was a good summer, and it was really good, I think, for the brain to just kind of not have to be on high alert all the time, so that when I got to the season, it was like a fresh start.
Oh, that's great. Well, we're coming up on our 2-minute drill, which historically is been way over 2 minutes. But before we do that, I want to give a shout out to, again, our sponsor, Brugger's Bagels. Now, many of our listeners are loyal U of M fans who tailgate at every game. I know Dan and I are. And look, if you're throwing a tailgate, that's great. If you're joining a tailgate, though, it's kind of rude to come empty-handed. So what I would suggest is join the Brugger's Rewards program, and then order online through the app or online again. And there's a quote unquote good for groups menu where you can choose from all kinds of tailgating favorites. And now my favorite is the brunch box. It feeds up to 8 people. It comes in a nice little box. You got 6 bagels, a tub of cream cheese, 3 egg sandwiches, 4 twice baked hash browns, 4 muffins, all baked fresh. And it's a great deal. It's like $5 a person. So now if you're in Ann Arbor, there's 2 locations in Ann Arbor, one on campus, one on Main. So if you're coming off 94, you're going up to park on the golf course, there's a Brugger's right there. Order ahead, pick it up, take it to the tailgate. You're a real hero. Again, it's Bruggers.com. So now we got the 2-minute drill. And we're some questions. Dan, we can alternate, but I think I know the answer to this question, but you might surprise us because we've had some surprises. If you weren't a football player, what sport would you be playing? Let's call it professionally. Like your dream sport, you're going to make a living doing it. What would it be?
I mean, I have to go with soccer.
Okay.
Yeah, that it's growing up was my dream was to play professionally over like in Europe or something crazy like that.
Yeah. So it's not golf. I like Max Bredesen wasn't limited by his lack of golf skills because he said, I want to be a golfer and I want to be on the Live Golf Tour because apparently they make a lot of money. So I appreciate it. Like he was dreaming big.
Yeah.
So, but okay, professional soccer makes sense given where you are. Okay.
Yeah. I know you're still acclimating to Ann Arbor, but have you found a favorite? What's your top spot to eat in town?
Strahan for sure, and I'm sure Have you heard other players say Strahan?
Oh, well, I've been there several times.
So much on the show, but just like we've seen it on social media, but Davis kind of turned us onto it, and then we got a chance to meet the owner. I think Chris.
Yeah.
And I actually tried to go there. I don't know. I feel like I tried to go there. The school I don't think had even started yet, but yeah, the line was around the building, so it's a popular spot.
Every time I go there. Every sports team, like the entire women's soccer team will be there, or the rowing team. I mean, it's like, you guys get a special. Well, what's the deal with all these social media posts where you're tagging Strahan? Is he giving you guys a discount or something?
Yeah, like it's supposed to be like a 50% or something like that. I don't really remember off the top of my head, but we also it's part of our our red card, right. Which is you get money per week to go spend at certain places, and Strahan is one of them, and it's a great place. So
it's yeah. I mean, I went to it for the first time this year, and I've been there a couple times to meet folks.
Is so good.
The food is, again, if anybody's listening that hasn't been to Strahan, it's a great place. The food's phenomenal.
It's worth the wait.
Yeah, and it goes pretty quickly. I mean, it's kind of like a Panera setup where you get in line, you order, you take a number, and they bring it to you. So it's great. So
that's our first free ad, or our.
Hey, there we go.
We don't even get. We got to get 50% off. But so so you show up in Ann Arbor. What surprised you most about Ann Arbor in general? Like, just off the top of your head when you showed up and said, "Oh, wow." Anything
off the top of my head? I guess I would say the sheer amount of maize and blue everywhere. There's blue houses. There's there's M's in the middle of anywhere anywhere you go in Ann Arbor, you'll see some sort of maize and blue. And that I guess it makes sense because this town is all they do is talk about Michigan, but I guess I don't know what I was expecting, but I was just kind of blown away by the amount of school spirit and pride that they have for University of Michigan.
Now, it's clearly a passionate fan base. I'm just curious, you're a public person, you walk around. Do you get, obviously, without the helmet on, do people recognize you and say, "Hey, man, happy you're here"? Or, they shout you out, or are you still flying under the radar?
I'm still flying under the radar, which, has got I don't know. But I haven't been recognized in public yet, other than when I was at Chipotle and I saw Donovan and he started talking to me. And then these people came up to Donovan and Donovan was like, "Oh, I'm with the kicker." And it was like, they're like, "Oh, okay." But then they kept talking to Donovan because everyone wants to talk to Donovan.
Yeah.
So that's like the only time, but that's about it.
Jim Harbaugh talked to this guy. He used to do that.
Yeah. I just want to order best.
Yeah.
I think I know the answer to this next one because we did touch a little bit on it before. But if you had to pick a noon game, a 3:30 game, or a night game, what would you pick?
I mean, each one has their own pros and cons. The night games are great because you get the electric, under the lights, especially with the new LEDs that they have in the stadium where they turn different colors. Those are sweet. And the student section with the wristbands and all that stuff, it's electric, but you got to wait all day to play. And then you don't have a Saturday. And then Sunday, you're going to bed at 2 or 3 in the morning. So your whole Sunday is spent sleeping in and then kind of trying to get ready for the next week. So that's the cons about the night game. I would probably choose a 3:30 because it's right in the middle. It's a sweet spot. You get to sleep in, and you end, and you still have a little bit of time on Saturday to maybe get a late dinner and then go to bed at a reasonable time because that's all I care about nowadays. I'm not much of a college kid anymore. I just like to get home and get to sleep. I'm getting old. So I care about my sleep.
I love how you say you're getting old. I don't think you turn 21 until this. So we're recording this on the 15th of September. Your birthday is the middle of October, right?
Yeah.
So you're not 21 yet.
I turned 21. Yeah. And I bought this Whoop for the sole purpose of tracking my sleep. So,
oh man.
I mean, yeah. So I would have to say the 3:30 game because you still get a little bit of that excitement with the night game, but you don't waste you don't spend your whole Saturday just sitting around in a hotel.
All right. So you've been around the guys for about 5 months now. Let's call it. Who's your pick to be most likely to succeed outside of football?
If Colston Loveland ran for president, I would vote for him 1,000 times. I would. Yeah, that's Colston Loveland for 2028 or whatever. That's the campaign.
What's just out of curiosity? We know Colston is obviously a great football player.
Yeah.
What is it? Why is he getting your vote?
I mean, he's just a great guy. You always feel energized and uplifted when you're around him. He's just one of those. He's a dude, and he's great on the football field, and he's very humble and just super genuine. And you can talk to him and go up to him about anything, and he's gonna respond with a genuine answer. So that's why he's so well respected, not only in public but in the building as well.
That's great. Great.
What's your hidden talent?
I can juggle really well. So I don't know if you've ever seen, but I think it's JJ Watt. He juggles in the locker room before games to kind of focus. And I saw that, so I learned how to juggle. And I don't do that in the locker room, but I mean sometimes sometimes during practice, if I notice that I'm kind of fading away mentally, I'll grab some tennis balls and start juggling to kind of get my mind back into a serious and focused mode.
That might have been a good call. Like, you show up to a new school, no one knows you yet. If your first move is just to start juggling, people might think you're, you know what I mean? Like, if that was your first move, just start. You know,
well, I mean, it depends on. It might depend on what you're juggling. I mean, if you bring out like the chainsaws, and start juggling chainsaws, I mean that. Hell, that might.
I'm not that confident in my abilities to juggle chainsaws quite yet, but maybe I'll get there one day.
That's super cool, though. I actually can kind of see that. Do you feel like the reason JJ did it or does it? Do you feel like it? I feel like it might have this mind-body connection thing where you can get kind of focused.
It's all eye-hand coordination, and you kind of like, I don't know, it just kind of locks you back into what you need to be doing, and it kind of takes whatever you were thinking about and throws it out the window.
All right, last question. Favorite movie?
Ocean's 11.
Oh, okay. How about favorite sports movie?
Why can't I think of the name? It's gonna kill me. It's a movie. It's a Disney movie.
Well, you come to the right place because I got a 4-year-old and a 2-year-old, so hit me with it.
It's about back in the day when it was segregated, and the new head coach was of color, and he came in.
Titans,
remember the Titans?
I don't know why I couldn't remember the name. Remember the Titans. That's the coach. Yeah, the great movie. Absolutely. Yeah, every time. It's such an awesome movie.
For some reason, I was thinking it was somehow when we said Disney, I thought it was about a dog and a ball somewhere. But
Air Bud.
Air Bud. I thought. I think we elevated a little bit by going blind. Remember the Titans? That was a good movie.
About good blocking in football movies that they'll just start making you tear up.
Yeah. It's
and then
amazing movie.
A Jason question: do you have a favorite fictional kicker? Because there's some good ones out there.
Fictional kicker.
Yeah, like think about the guy from The Replacements, the chain smoking gambling guy. I'm not very good with movies, so in references, a lot of guys in the building give me a hard time, especially my the analyst that we have, Garrett Clausen. Him and Tommy will go at it with movie quotes and stuff like that. And then they'll look at me, and I'm just like, I have no idea what you're talking about. And they'll give me crap for it every time.
It sounds like Khalil Mullins is his favorite fictional kicker.
Yeah, Khalil Mullins.
Yeah. We've talked to a lot of guys, a lot of good movie taste. I would say on the non-sports movie side, talk to Josh Preeb. He's got a really good
does he?
He's got a really good.
Yeah, Josh is a big movie guy.
Good movie guy.
Hey, Dominic, this is it's really great having you on here and sharing your background. Again, like I said earlier, I mean, you came almost out of nowhere, right? You show up and not a lot of people, because a lot of the guys on the team, people have followed their high school recruiting. They know the ins and outs. They verbally commit. It takes another year before they sign their letter. They show up, and we know a lot about them. And so you're clearly an important part of the team this year. And I love having the fans know a little bit more about you. This was a lot of fun, and best of luck this year.
Thank you. Yeah, no, it was amazing. This was a great opportunity, and it's been an absolute pleasure to talk to you two.
This is great. So, hey, everybody, I hope you'll follow us on social media. Please visit our website, leadersinnext.com, for more information on how you can support Michigan athletics. Thanks. Take care.